All right, I call to order the meeting of the Manassas Park Governing Body for May 13th, 2025. We have a request to remove the photography contest and add it to next week's agenda. Also, we have 2 closed sessions. Dean, could you read the citations for both the closed sessions?
Yeah, it's paragraph 1 and 29 of subsection 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Please join us for a moment of silence, and Councilmember Carrera, will you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up is public comment time. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? Anyone here who would like to make public comment? Seeing no one. Moving on to unfinished business, school board appointments. We would like to thank everyone who stepped forward to serve on our school board, both new and old. We appreciate every one of you. So the motion is that the governing body appoint the following individuals to serve on the Manassas Park School Board for the stated terms. Jennifer Moyers for the unexpired vacant term that will expire on June 30, 2026. Ellen Slobodnik for a term to commence on July 1, 2025 and expire on June 30th, 2028. And Shantae Jones for a term to commence on July 1, 2025 and expire on June 30th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
1 abstention. Motion carries. Congratulations to the 3 of you, and welcome. All right, next up, we have the resolution on the school board budget. I understand there was a little bit of confusion, so I'd like to ask Carl or Tony to just clarify.
Are you talking about the 1.4 million?
Yes,
Yeah,
where
okay.
it's all coming from and why it was presented this way.
Yeah, at some point in the past, so the 800 and some thousand is the school stabilization fund money that the school district turns in every year. Not that amount, but they turn in some amount of money every year, and then it rolls back into the budget the next year. Somewhere in the budget, a line was added that was called a state shortfall funding. The best we can tell is it was intended to provide extra funding to the school district in the event enrollment fell and funding for the school district was reduced because of that. We didn't notice that until we'd already given the school their money and they built their budget based on that 800 some they asked for in their stabilization fund, plus the 500 and some that was in that state shortfall line. And we didn't notice that that was an addition in the budget until after they had created their budget. And it was my intention to leave that in there since they made a good faith effort to build their budget off the information we gave them and then cover it with unassigned fund balance. And that's where we are now. And I will say that was before we knew we had a $2.7 million hole in the water and sewer fund, but that's how we got to where we are today.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
So just to understand the that state shortfall fund of 500 some, that was from, the origination was from the general fund then? Where did that money come from? It was from the general fund?
Correct.
Okay, so that wasn't part of the stabilization fund. It didn't come from the schools as unused funds that, right, so it's technically part of the governing bodies at our discretion.
Correct. It was added in there at some point. We have removed it. Moving forward, it will not be in there next year or any. It was in there for years going forward, but we removed it after this year. But it is general fund money.
Okay.
So,
Well, I mean,
Oh, sorry.
I guess just kind of based on that, so it was funding that was used that shouldn't have been used, and we were just being kind to say, hey, here's an additional 500,000 because we didn't want to bother them with having to redo their budget. So would it make sense then to go ahead and kind of replenish the general fund with the 500,000 from the stabilization fund?
It's your budget. You guys can do what you'd like to do. David is here from the school, and I think if you want him to comment, he'd be happy to, but that is your decision.
My position is this: I'm going to oppose your budget, and the reason I'm going to oppose it, I've never opposed a school budget. So we're 2.7 in the hole. A lot of localities in Northern Virginia, a lot across Commonwealth Virginia, they're short. They always require the school board to take some type of adjustment as well. Most places, I work for Arlington County, they take a 49%. They have a shared agreement. Fairfax County just took almost, I think, 45% of their reduction. We have 2.7. So I would think that you should at least take the $500,000 reduction. That's just standard practice in every jurisdiction I've seen throughout the Commonwealth, especially when you have about 18% in the student enrollment decline. It's a concern of mine, so I'm going to oppose your budget on that. I think you have to make adjustments, just like on our end, we have to make adjustments on the general side. This is the highest tax state in the highest tax jurisdiction in the entire state by a lot, not little. It's a working class community. It's putting pressure on a lot of our working people here, and I think everybody has to chip in and make adjustments. So I'm going to oppose your budget, and with I think you need to cut 500,000 or 533. Thank you.
Comments, questions? Comments, questions?
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking in a vacuum. I can't have a conversation without the schools at the table, because I'm confused as to when your budget has to be adopted by this board. Is there a state requirement? Those kinds of questions I need to have answered. Do we have to do it tonight, or can we put it off and give the school district an opportunity to respond to the questions that are being raised at this dais? So if David, I'll take the mayor.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
he can
Could
come
you
to the
come up?
dais or to the microphone. I'm glad that you're here, Mr. Finance
Sure,
Director,
I'm
sir.
definitely planning on here, thank you. Good evening. Yes, there is a date, I believe it's mid-May around, I'll double check. but
It's May
I think
15th.
May 15th, yes.
Oh, so we do have to do it tonight. So we need to approve a dollar amount tonight then?
You know, and, yes.
Okay.
So in crafting the budget, you guys were aware that the additional 500,000 was in your budget, that line item?
No,
You did not?
no. I build the budget, I start with our revenue totals, and we go from there. Now, we use the 10-year summary, which is part of the spreadsheet that's posted from the city budget on your Manassas Park website. And I used the FY25 10-year summary total, which was 14.6 million. I cannot see the granular data behind that. That's the line I've always used since I've been here for the past 4 years, and it's always been that.
Gotcha. You
that
don't see
number.
what makes it up, what's in that number. So given what Councilmember Carrera said, I mean, we do have declining enrollment. Superintendent Saunders pointed that out at the last budget meeting. We do have a deficit of probably $2.9 million in the city. What kind of burden will this be for the school district to absorb the $500,000? If the
Well,
city
we're-
needs that money back.
Sure. I mean, first and foremost, we're a team player. You know, since I started,
Yeah.
Ms. Sieberling's always heard me say,
Yeah.
you know, we're one.
Yeah.
And we work to support not just the school system, but our community, and that's all of you. We would start out looking at expenses that are not required, look at programs that are not required. Top of my head, summer school,
Yeah.
250,000 local dollars for that. We put in our budget a benefit that I know the city employees have, the paid maternity, paternity leave. That was $200,000 because we have to pay people to replace that employee during their absence in teaching those classes. So right there, that's $450,000. We could, you know, there's other programs we could look at. Middle school athletics, that's about $100,000. So it gets me closer to the $500,000 mark.
I just get the sense that, because we have had a very collaborative, being coming from the school board so recently, it's been very collaborative. We've worked really well, both sides. David's done such a beautiful job.
You're here.
And we've always come to the table, work things out before it even gets here. I just feel like this time, we just fell short a little bit with that discussion. And there still needs to be more discussion, but in order to allow the time, let the 500 stay, and then reimburse the general fund through the stabilization fund.
Would you be
With
able to
500.
absorb it in your
Right.
stabilization fund? Is there enough in there to do that?
Yes, there will be enough in there to absorb it. We anticipate returning 1.3, once the audit is finished for FY24, I anticipate 1.3 being
Oh,
returned.
okay.
So Yes, yes, we could absorb it
Okay.
there
we would-
without cutting. My concern would be the next year.
Future years, yeah.
Yeah, since
Year
that-
out.
Since I know that total from that 10-year projection for next year will be different, will be less, we're just kind of kicking the can down the road. So I think, we'll have to take a look. The governor just finished his amendment, and I'll get updated revenue projections from the state, and I anticipate a few extra dollars there, so maybe it'll take care of itself. But we could absorb it in the stabilization line. But yeah, again, the concern would be I'm just kicking the can down the road one more year. And it could come back to be more next year. But we'll do what we have to do. I mean,
I think there's gonna be a lot of kicking cans down the road this
Um,
budget cycle.
both of us.
So,
Let's continue this way,
Yeah.
and then if you want to come back, we can
Okay.
come back.
Mayor, can I just say something really quick?
Yes.
So we don't have the figures yet, the estimated figures from the state yet? Is that what I hear you saying?
Nope,
is he asking me?
no. Are you
So
asking?
we have it 30 days from the day we get that. So it's May 15th or 30 days after you get the numbers from the state. I believe that's how the code section, the state code section reads.
Okay,
So if that's the case, if you haven't gotten the numbers from the state yet, then we don't have to approve this by the 15th.
oh,
There is some ramifications to that. We cannot then release our contracts to our employees to return next year.
okay.
And then while other systems are doing that, then we could lose employees.
Okay, so, thanks, Dean, but probably not. Okay,
Well, could you push it by a week then, though, to allow the staff to kind of figure this out? I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, I'm just trying to come up with a way to not rush this thing.
sure.
I would counter, say I would rather just take it from the stabilization line, look how the state revenue comes in. If the city, like you said, is already taking a $2.5 million cut in other areas, we certainly want to support you. We could take a look at our updated state revenue as a Plan B. Hopefully, it could cover it. We wouldn't have to take it all from the stabilization line.
So for the budget purposes tonight, then, you could go ahead, instead of taking it from the reserves from the city, you could just take it from the stabilization fund and then if you got extra money from the state, then you could put more into the stabilization fund for next year, right?
Yes.
I mean, that was the way it was designed.
Okay,
Yes, or even just, once we have those final numbers from the state, I could contact Carl and Tony and say, just a transfer down from the stabilization line.
right.
sure.
Because we get it by month, so we don't get it up, so.
Okay. Sorry, back to Councilmember Moreau?
No, what Dean just laid out, I think, is what I would support.
Okay.
So,
Councilmember Javed?
with the extension?
No extension, taking it from the stabilization fund.
Yeah, whatever Mr. Lyons is recommending, I think would be the best move. I don't think we should cut the 500. We could figure that out after the audit is done. And remember, I mean, this is like he said, that their budget has been pretty constant for the last 5 years and moving past 10 years. So we haven't really increased the school budget for the past 5-6 years since I've been here. So it's something to think about. The other thing was the total on there's two line items, the stabilization and then there's a state fund line. So there's two separate.
That's on the-
It's labeled the
city.
state shortfall. Again, we weren't the ones that did it, so we can't figure out exactly what it is, but our best guess is it was designed to make up for revenue shortages from the state.
Right,
It'll
yeah,
use
I
it all.
understand the intent, but I was just wondering why not just put it all in one, either the stabilization line or or
I
whatever.
agree,
To use it accordingly, but that's another conversation.
We try to, we stopped the spend down practice, and it has been our practice, luckily, so far, to return at least $1 million at the end of the year, each year. So I hope, and I anticipate hopefully doing that again this year.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate everything the schools do to
Yeah, oh, thank you.
work with our budget.
Yeah, we are one, so.
We are. Is everyone in support?
I just want to say one thing, and I heard the list of stuff you said to cut. I just want to make it clear, because people listen and then they say we're anti-schools. Instead of cutting summer school, middle school athletics, things that are all at the community there, You're getting a dean of middle school, which we've never had before. That's about 100-some thousand,
You say that,
150,000.
I can't hear.
A dean of middle school.
Yes, those would be on that would definitely be on.
I just want the public
Okay.
to hear that because that
Yes.
wasn't first. We say
Yes.
summer school, and then the community says, "Oh, they're going to cut schools," and that's not the truth because
Yes.
we do the same thing in Arlington. We want to project
Right,
something different.
Right.
You also put a line item to pay out sick leave. I haven't found a jurisdiction in the state that does that to the extent that you're trying to give 100%. I have not found one that
Pay out sick leave?
sick leave. There's an enticement to pay out the full sick leave
No.
and give additional sick leave, different from the formula. That was part of the presentation.
I think we aren't changing the formula. What Dr. Saunders presented as a result of our teacher advisory committee, because we can't compete salary-wise with our neighbors. So one thing we decided to do is the maternity leave, paid paternity leave, maternity leave. And also, I think what you're referring to is the PTO.
Yes.
Converting the sick leave to PTO, the payout would not change.
And there was an increase of multiple days.
Right.
I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
something you can look at as well, other than going right at.
Sure.
Because that's not standard around
Yeah.
other jurisdictions around
Right.
the state.
Right.
But I
That's
think-
just what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're not talking about cutting it. I think we're gonna take it from the stabilization fund if everyone's.
No,
in
I'm
favor.
okay
There's
with
no
that,
cutting.
but I
The-
just.
The budget stays whole.
I just
as
don't want to
presented.
hear from the community, they want to cut when someone's, this is what they do in Arlington. When you have to make reductions, we're cutting police officers, we're cutting teachers, but there's other stuff that can be reduced and that's never named. And it puts the politicians in a bad situation with the representatives. And I don't want us to have that type of situation. We have to respond to the community when there's other things that they haven't had before that aren't probably a necessity. And that's the other thing.
Well, I think Mr. Lyons quite adequately pointed out the fact that we can't pay our teachers what the surrounding jurisdictions pay.
Correct.
And so we lose our teachers because we're not competitive. So if we can give them a few extra dollars or a couple extra days in PTO, that's well worth the trade-off of salary. So we can't just say that they can just easily wipe that away, because then we'll lose teachers. We have to have incentives that are keep these teachers here in our district and teaching in our schools. And I appreciate all the efforts and the creative, I would argue, creative thinking that the school district is doing to keep our teachers satisfied and here in our city.
Thank you.
Mr. Nguyen, did you have something to add?
Yes, Mayor. So the school has been a great partner to us, but to a point of clarification to Councilmember Javet's point, we did increase the school budget by $400K this year through fund transfer, and we budgeted $500K increase next year. So that's independent of the lines that we're talking about tonight, so just for full transparency purposes.
Thank you.
And just the items I rattled off the top of my head were non-positions, and I think that's where we go first before we start talking reduction in force cuts, if we had to.
Okay. Is everyone in favor of, or are the majority of us in favor of taking the 533 from the school stabilization line?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
would you mind reading that motion then, please?
So it'd be to approve the school budget as presented, except that the money, the $533,000 will come from the school stabilization fund instead of the city's fund balance.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming down to help us
Thank you.
clear that out.
Thank you.
All right, that is everything. So we've arrived at our second public comment time. Would anyone like to make public comments?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry,
sure.
that's not our time. But can I?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want to acknowledge my sister who's traveling from California, visiting
Aw.
here today in the audience for the first time, and so
That's so
we'll
nice.
welcome her here to our
Welcome
meeting.
to Manassas Park.
My older sister. Let me stop.
All right, city manager report. We have a special recognition tonight. Let's start with the recognition.
Sure, I'll take this one. So several weeks ago, as you know, the city was selected to host an International City County Management Association Senior Fellow, and Mr. Calvin Williams is our fellow, and he spent the last several weeks with us, really being exposed to a host of topics from last Friday to farmers market all the way to economic development initiatives and through our budgeting cycle, this cycle. And so I'm sad to announce that he finished his time with us, but I'm delighted to welcome him back tonight to share a little bit about his experience with you all. And then we do have a to speak of appreciation for his time with us. So with that being said, Calvin?
So I also came to gifts as well.
Aw.
So I really enjoyed my time with this team. They're amazing. I wish I could take them with me to my organization.
No, you need to leave them
Am
here.
I too low? I learned a tremendous amount of knowledge from the local government. There's a lot of similarities. I think we're doing our job. This program is doing its job, bridging the gap between the federal government and the local government. And with that being said, my boss wanted to give you guys a 3-star note from the Pentagon. And this is it.
Wow.
And it's just in appreciation for you guys training our future leaders and getting us ready, you know, for higher jobs within the federal government and being able to work with your city managers and just understanding what you guys doing and how we could bring their knowledge and expertise to the federal government and bridge this gap and make things, you know, a whole lot better between the two. My boss was extremely happy that I was able to come to Manassas Park, so I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. I learned a lot. I appreciate these guys. Keith, we're probably lifelong friends now, and you guys definitely made the right choice with your city manager. He's very knowledgeable. I also have a law enforcement background, so I understand him, you know, as well, and he was amazing for me, and this team was absolutely amazing. I learned a lot, and as I progress, I will never forget you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if we can get a picture with the group.
Yeah.
Sí. Sí, se está ahí. No, solo una semana. No, una semana.
Thank you so much.
Kelly.
Sorry.
This will go like this.
Thank you.
I will be back.
Thank you. Thank
Where did you say that would go? On my desk. Good luck, all of you.
Well, I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Williams for spending the time with us, and thank you so much to Keith for putting that program together. I think that was really
Here,
good
here.
for the city as well.
Yes.
All right. Manager report?
Yeah, just a couple things. I successfully married off my daughter last Saturday and made it back to town. I have almost dug out of the email that accumulated while I was gone, and I did want to comment on one thing. There was some traffic about an ERP FTE that my intention is not to hire a full-time permanent person. My intention is to hire a temporary term-limited person or a contract to help us implement the new Tyler Munis system. We paid over $800,000 for it and even a few $100,000 more for previous implementations that haven't gone as well as we would have liked. And so I think it's important that we do this one right, and that is my intention, not to add a person forever, just to get this done and done correctly. So I just wanted to clear that up. Otherwise, I haven't had a chance to really know about anything else to comment on, so unless you have questions, that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Dean, would you please lead us into closed meeting?
Yes, I recommend the governing body go into closed meeting to discuss the performance of a specific public officer of the city and to discuss the award of a public contract for legal services pursuant to paragraphs 1 and 29 of subsection 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia.
Do you have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
We don't.
No break.
No.
Go to the break.
You don't need a break.
Yeah, it's been 24 minutes, guys.
Hey, Mayor, I understand,
Yes, Dean?
I